In this video, I'm going to talk to you about VAT periods. Now, VAT periods are important even if you're not registered for VAT. A valid VAT period needs to be in existence before you can enter any transactions such as invoices, and whether you are VAT registered or not, it is very important to have a VAT period. So, to go into VAT periods, from the accounting menu, select VAT, then VAT periods, and this will bring up the VAT period page. Now, for this example, the standard VAT scheme is in operation for the year 2013. I'm going to explain the screen now in detail. The name of the period, now this is quite important because this will appear on invoices, and you need to make sure that the naming convention used here is something that you understand. So for example, I'm going to show you, if I go into accounting, customers, and then new customer invoice. If you look at the parameters tab, you'll see the VAT period there, and there are various places in Amanda where the VAT period will be displayed. The VAT period will always default to the date of a transaction. It is possible to change it. There's a drop down here, and again this correlates back to the VAT periods as described in the name field here. The description field, this is used on the VAT return. I'm not going to show you producing a VAT return in this video, but just be aware that you may prefer to change that naming convention. For example, I prefer to use a date format more like this, so to amend a VAT period description, all you need to do is to click on it, and I'm going to change it 01.01.2013 space dash 31.03.2013. and then save. Okay. The opening date and the closing date is the start and end of the VAT period. The filing date is the date that the return is due to be submitted to HMRC. The sent date, you can use that if you want to record the date the return was sent to HMRC, and the filed date can be used to record the date that the return was actually filed online with HMRC. As I mentioned before, we have three different types of schemes. So we've got standard, which is the normal accruals based VAT scheme, the cash scheme, and none. And as I mentioned before, even if you're not registered for VAT, you will need to have a VAT period which should be set to none. Now, it is possible to change your VAT scheme status during a accounting year, but you cannot change a VAT scheme for a period that has transactions within it. So for example, you'll see on the very first period the scheme is set to standard. I can only change it for subsequent periods, and this will be because there will be a transaction somewhere in Amanda for that particular period. The rate percentage is not used. The status, again, like accounting periods, you can have three different statuses. You can have open, restricted, or closed. If a period is restricted, it means that only privileged users can enter data in here. If it's closed, typically that would be if the return has been submitted, nobody can enter any transaction at all. There are some reports that are available, which I'm not going to cover here, but I will mention the return. To produce a VAT return report, which you can then use the figures on that report to file your return online, you need to do that from the VAT period screen. Now, as I mentioned before, if you want to enter transactions into Amanda, you do need to make sure you've got a valid VAT period covering the date of the transactions, and that's applicable even if you're not registered for VAT. Now, to create periods, we have two options we can use. We can either use the New button, or this is the one I prefer to use, the Add Multiple Periods. So if I click on that, the first thing you need to do is to enter the date of your periods. So in this case, I've entered 01/01/2002 to 31st of December 2002. And from this drop down, you can select how many VAT periods you want to generate. Once you've set that to what's appropriate for your business, press the Generate button. And you'll see that Amanda has created 4 periods in 2012. Each have unique numbers, which again will appear throughout the system, and a default description date in this particular format. Now, I prefer to have a format that is more like this, so to change that, 01.01.2012 space dash 31.03.2012. And again, I would normally do that for every period. Opening and closing date, system is showing you what it's done automatically. Once you're happy with your settings, all you need to do is to press OK. And Amanda will generate those periods and slot them into the VAT period screen. Now, it's worth mentioning here the significance of this orange highlighted data. This is telling you that the period is in fact in the past, and you may well want, once you've entered any transactions that you need to in a particular period, you may well want to go on to the status button and actually set that to closed. And again, you can do that with all of the periods, and don't forget to press save. Thank you for watching.